From the relentless Caucasian Eagle to the mighty Cyclops, prepare to be whisked away into a world of ancient myths and legendary powers. Today we're diving into the world of Greek mythology to explore 13 incredible mythical creatures and monsters, each boasting extraordinary powers. Caucasian Eagle. In Greek mythology, there's a story about Prometheus, a titan who got in big trouble with Zeus, the top god, for giving fire to humans without asking. Zeus was so mad that he sent a huge, scary eagle, born from two monsters, Typhon and Echidna, to eat Prometheus's liver every day in the Caucasus Mountains. Prometheus went through a lot of pain because his liver would grow back every night. But then, Heracles, a super strong hero, showed up. Heracles saw how much pain Prometheus was in and decided to stop it. He fought the big eagle and killed it. This saved Prometheus and freed him from being chained up. Centaurs. Centaurs are famous mythical creatures that have a human's upper body and a horse's lower body. They started with Centaurus, the son of King Ixion. Ixion fancied Queen Hera, Zeus's wife, but Zeus tricked him with a cloud nymph resembling Hera. Ixion ended up with the cloud nymph Nephele, and they had Centaurus, who didn't fit in with humans. Centaurus lived away from people, in the mountains, and had kids with some mares, creating centaurs. There's also another story where Zeus accidentally made the horned centaurs. Centaurs were known for being wild, loving battles, wine, music, archery, and women. But there was one good centaur, Chiron, son of Kronos. He was smart and nice. Cerberus. Cerberus was this huge, scary dog with 3 heads that watched the gate to the underworld. His parents were Typhon and Echidna, who were pretty much the king and queen of Monsterland. Cerberus wasn't just your average guard dog. He had snakes for a mane, and his tail was a bunch of serpents too. His job was to keep living people out of the underworld and stop dead folks from leaving. Heracles, a super brave hero, had to catch Cerberus for his last job for King Eurystheus. He went down to the underworld and even faced Hades, the god of the underworld, to get permission to take Cerberus. Heracles had to promise to bring him back and managed to beat Cerberus without any weapons. It was a massive fight, and everyone in the underworld was shocked that Heracles won. Heracles took Cerberus to King Eurystheus, who was pretty freaked out to see the monster. But true to his word, Heracles took Cerberus back to the underworld where he went back to his guard job. Cercopes. The Cercopes were 2 brothers who loved causing trouble. They were from Greek mythology and were sons of the sea titan Oceanus. They were known for being small, not very good looking, and they had tails. They liked messing with travelers and locals, stealing and playing pranks. They ran into Heracles once when he was traveling. They thought they were clever and stole his weapons, teasing him. But Heracles didn't think it was funny. He caught them and tied them up on a pole. They were lucky because their mom talked Heracles into letting them go and giving back his weapons. But they didn't learn their lesson and ended up making Zeus mad, who turned them into monkeys. Seran Hind. This wasn't just any deer. It was super fast, had shiny golden antlers, and its hooves looked like brass. The hunting goddess Artemis had 5 of these hinds and loved them a lot. She used 4 to pull her chariot and let the 5th one roam free as her special animal. Heracles had a big job to do. He had to catch this deer for his 12 labors. But he knew he couldn't hurt it because Artemis would be really mad. So he had to chase it without causing harm. This deer was incredibly quick and kept dodging him. Heracles chased it for a whole year, through all kinds of places like fields, forests, and mountains. Finally, he caught it, but the deer broke an antler in the process. Artemis got really angry when she found out. But Heracles convinced her he just needed to borrow the hind for a bit to show he did his job. After proving he did it, he let the deer go, and it ran back into the wild. Cetus of Ethiopia. There's also a story about a huge sea monster called Cetus in Greek mythology. This monster was sent by Poseidon, the sea god, to attack Ethiopia's coast. It was because Queen Cassiopeia bragged that her daughter Andromeda was prettier than sea nymphs. An oracle told the king and queen that the only way to stop Cetus was to offer Andromeda as a sacrifice it. But then, Perseus, the hero who defeated Medusa, flew by on his way home. He saw Andromeda chained to a rock near the sea and learned about her situation. When Cetus showed up to take the sacrifice, Perseus fought and killed it, either with his sword or by using Medusa's head to turn it into stone. After that, Perseus saved Andromeda, married her, and took her back to Greece with him. Caribdis. Caribdis was a super scary sea creature, basically a giant mouth with super sharp teeth. right in the middle of a huge whirlpool. The story goes that Caribdis used to be Poseidon's beautiful daughter, but Zeus turned her into a monster that couldn't stop eating because she caused a big flood. She was stuck at the bottom of the ocean, sucking in and spitting out water 3 times a day, making a whirlpool that could wreck anything nearby. Sailors were really scared of her because getting too close meant their ships could get smashed. Charybdis was often mentioned alongside Scylla, another sea monster. Sailors had to pick which one to face in a narrow sea passage. Chimera. The chimera was a terrifying mix of animals. It had a lion's head, a goat's body, and a snake for a tail. It was born from Typhon and Echidna, who were like the king and queen of Monsterland. The chimera could breathe fire and had a poisonous tail, making it super dangerous. It scared everyone by setting fires and eating livestock. A hero named Bellerophon was sent to kill the chimera by the king of Lycia. He got help from the goddess Athena, who showed him how to ride the flying horse Pegasus. During the fight, Bellerophon tried to hit the chimera with his spear, but it didn't work. The chimera tried to breathe fire on him, but Pegasus was fast enough to dodge. Bellerophon then got a smart idea. He attached a lead block to his spear and waited for the chimera to breathe fire again. When it did, he shoved the spear into its mouth. The lead melted from the fire and choked the chimera, killing it. Chrysomalos, the golden fleece. This was a special creature in Greek mythology. It was a golden ram, the kid of Poseidon, and a nymph named Theophany. The ram came to be because Poseidon turned Theophany into a sheep to hide her from others who liked her. Then, Poseidon became a ram, which led to Chrysomalos being born. The story really starts with Phrixus and Helle, who were King Athamas's kids with a cloud nymph, Nephele. King Athamas married another woman, Ino, who really didn't like her stepkids. She caused trouble by ruining the crops. People asked an oracle for help and were told the only solution was to sacrifice the king's kids. Just in time, the golden ram saved Phrixus and Helle. Their mom, Nephele, sent the ram to take them across the sea to safety. She told them to sacrifice the ram to Zeus when they got there. Sadly, Helle fell into the sea during the journey and drowned in what's now called the Hellespont, named after her. Phrixus got to the kingdom of Colchis safely, sacrificed the ram to Zeus, and gave its fleece to King Aeetes. Kian Dragon. The Kian Dragon was a tough creature guarding the golden fleece. It was one of Typhon and Echidna's kids and had super hard scales and fiery eyes. Approaching, let alone beating this dragon, was a huge challenge. But things changed when Jason and the Argonauts arrived in Colchis. King Aeetes, who ruled there, said he'd give Jason the fleece if he did some really hard tasks. Medea, the king's daughter, fell for Jason and used her magic to help him. Jason and Medea somehow got through all the tasks, but when it was time for King Aeetes to give up the fleece, he didn't. So Jason and Medea decided to sneak in and take it. They faced the dragon, and with either Medea's magic herbs making it sleep or through a big fight, they beat the dragon. They grabbed the fleece and ran away, with Medea joining Jason. Cretan bull. Poseidon, the sea god, gave this awesome white bull to King Minos of Crete. Poseidon told Minos to sacrifice the bull to the gods, but Minos thought the bull was too cool to kill, so he kept it. This made Poseidon super mad. Poseidon's revenge was pretty wild. He made Minos' wife fall in love with the bull, and she had the Minotaur, a scary half-bull, half-man monster. Poseidon also made the white bull go nuts and let it loose on Crete, where it caused a lot of trouble. Years later, Heracles showed up in Crete for his 7th big task. King Minos just gave him the bull. Heracles managed to catch it and brought it back as proof of his work. But then, he let it go in a town called Marathon, where it wrecked stuff and got named the Marathon Bull, Cyclops. Cyclops were giant creatures with only one eye, known for being super strong, great at making things, and really fierce. They were said to be the first kids of Uranus and Gaia, who were like the original gods of the sky and earth. Their names were Argus, Brontes, and Sterapes. Their dad, Uranus, didn't like their appearance and thought they were monsters, so he locked them and their brothers, who had 100 hands, in Tartarus, a really deep and dark place. They stayed there until Zeus, the main god, set them free to help fight against the Titan Kronos. These Cyclops were awesome at making weapons. They made Zeus's lightning bolt, Poseidon's trident, and Hades' helmet that made him invisible. These weapons were super important in helping the gods win against the Titans. After the war, the Cyclops kept making weapons for the gods. Dragons of Demeter. Demeter, the goddess of farming, was really nice to people who were kind to her. One guy, Triptolemus, was super hospitable to her when she was looking for her daughter Persephone. To thank him, Demeter gave him farming knowledge and 2 dragon-like creatures to pull his flying chariot. She told him to spread this farming knowledge everywhere. Triptolemus flew around with his dragons, teaching farming to lots of people. But the Scythians, led by King Lynceus, didn't want to listen. Lynceus even killed one of Triptolemus's dragons. Demeter got mad and turned Lynceus into the first lynx as punishment. Hope you enjoyed our epic journey through Greek myths. If you loved these fantastic creatures, hit like, subscribe for more, and drop a comment with your favorite mythical monster.